Before I get into the part 2 of my experience moving to Greece, I want to share a little bit of my update because I didn't put life updates in my other 2 videos that I just posted. So I'm going to do that here before I continue. So I'm very happy with our move in Rhodos. I have not spent a lot of time there because I've been traveling for work and I've just been very, very busy with work. So right now I'm in Seychelles. I'm going to go back to Rhodos in a few days and I'll spend a couple of weeks there. In January I went home for about 2 weeks because my parents came to Rhodos to look at a property that they're interested in buying so that they can also move to Rhodos. So that was really nice and I had a very beautiful time with my family, and I also ended up getting engaged. So that was a big excitement and I had a very beautiful time at home. It didn't last long because I had to leave for work. So I was in Vegas, then I went to Japan, and then I went to Bangkok. February and March have been very busy, but I'm looking forward to spending a couple of weeks at home in April. So you will get an update from me in a couple of weeks. Rhodos is actually opening up now for tourism. The season starts in March and it ends in end of November. It's one of the longest seasons of the Greek islands because we've got such beautiful weather and it's just such a magical place, and I guess is enough of a society there year round where things stay open and there's a demand for it. Okay, so I'm gonna start now going through the topics of all the comments left to what people were asking me or pointing out or commentary about it to further explain, hence why it's part 2. So I had quite a few people from America state to me that they were very unhappy with their artificial life in America. A few of you are from Greek ethnicity and or have family in Greece and or have just visited Greece and like the way of life and the concept of European living, etc. So thank you for whoever left a little comment saying how I've inspired them to look at different life avenues to change their lives. Look, I can completely relate to that feeling because I did live in America with my family for 8 years growing up. I moved there when I was 8 and I left when I was 16. So I literally had half of my upbringing in SA, half of it in America. And I really, really struggled with that, my sisters as well. It's very difficult to adjust to a country that has no culture when you grew up with culture. For anyone that was watching this that is from the USA, and if you're new here and you are from the USA, I understand you. If you're looking to change your life and go to Europe or any other country, you are not wrong for feeling that way. You're most likely seeking a life that has more authenticity in it and less artificial rat race consumerism that comes with the American dream or the American nightmares, I'd like to say it. So I felt living there. Do you know what? I go back to America every now and then for work. It's a circus. I was not wrong for feeling so depressed living in this place. I was not wrong. It is a circus there. Firstly, the food. Listen, I've gone back a couple times since living there. Let me just say, from the moment I sip the water in America, unless it's international imported water, which I like to stick to, or I eat one of your fruits or veggies that is not imported from a country that grows fruits and veggies properly, I don't know what happens. I bloat and I get sick. Every restaurant or hotel food that I've consumed there, I don't know what it is, but it's the food. It's the bloating, it's terrible. Acne, yeah. Could go into this in a whole other video about my experience living in America. Would you like me to do one? For anyone that's considering immigrating to America, I could very well do that video. Anyone from America wanting a lifestyle change and wanting to better their lives, if you want to get out of America, I encourage it. That country is going down. America is not the living dream. It's a nightmare. Y'all better get out of that country. I'm telling you now. How's my American accent? I'm telling you now, you better get out of there. If you are not happy with the life and you don't want to eat processed shit and food, you better get out. It ain't doing you good. It is a nightmare. Y'all are not living life. You might think you are, but you are not. Who the frick pays so much money for hospital bills or doctor visits? Are you for real? Even if your dog gets sick, they will consume all of your finances to try to keep your dog alive. Thankfully, Greece is not like that. Although we probably don't have as qualified veterinarians in Greece, but I'd like to say they are more ethical about their choice of pricing and charging you to try to save your dog. I had quite a bit of Greeks either writing to me in Greek or English that they left Greece for a better life because they were struggling. So Greece is a beautiful country. And when you come as a tourism, you're going to the best places. I just went now to obviously the USA, Japan, Thailand, and I went to the best places in a touristic zone. I did not go to the areas that were poverty stricken, where people struggle. I went to the best places of those countries. It is the same when foreigners in tourist mode come visit Greece and they're seeing the touristic side of Greece. Anywhere in Greece where there is tourism, there is money, there is a comfortable economy flowing in that area. But there are many zones in Greece that do not have that. So that is really small villages that depend on local support. So individual, private little businesses supporting one another. There are a lot of people in the city that live a rat race life, and they literally make just enough to pay their bills if they're lucky. Things seem to be getting better in Greece economic wise, because if you're not aware, Greece had a terrible, it's called the Greek crisis, you can Google it. It was terrible. It happened in 2014. I was not living in Greece at that time, but I was visiting. I had just visited the day before the banks shut. I was visiting as all of this was going down in 2014 with my sister. And when I tell you, if I compare that Greece to the Greece now, since 2014 till now, that has been 10 years since the Greek crisis. Wow, that's crazy. Anyways, there's been improvement. Things are really improving, maybe not dramatically, but there is an improvement on some level. I definitely think the country would have been improving at a lot faster rate if we did not have corruption in the higher up government system. As you know, listen, I come from South Africa, where there's like really bad corruption as well. So it's in many countries, but Greece, the mafia and the corrupted politicians, it would be way more ahead if people had their head on straight. But that is how the Greek crisis happened, because of corruption. So I mean, it's getting better on some level, but I really just love the lifestyle in Greece, the quality of the food, the seaside, all of that. So I'm happy in Greece. Other people can have a different opinion, but for me, I've built and navigated and done my research to locate myself in places with my partner that serve me joy. There are a lot of areas in Greece I would choose to never move to, because it is extremely depressing and like a black hole of energy. My next topic was the touristic perspective of Greece compared to the life of a local person, and that is very true. I live in Rhodos, and I'm not a tourist, so I live there, so I see and spend time in the local places that the tourists wouldn't. And even then, Rhodos is such a beautiful island, but there is a difference in one area to the other. There is a separation between those worlds, just like any other country. So I don't need to go too into that. There are Greeks like me that were born and raised outside of Greece, but have roots in Greece, have family members. And they have written to me saying that they want to change their life and possibly immigrate to Greece. I would personally tell you, do it if it's something that's calling you and you've spent enough time in Greece to like the actual country, if you're able to find a job and you like the concept of life, do it, try it. I did mention the bribery and corruption in Greece, so that is a downfall. You can look more into it if you want to Google, but Greece has really high tax. They are working to make things better, so I've heard. Let's see if that happens with the corrupted politicians. The system is a little bit complicated, right? You might need to do one thing and it'll take you 10 different avenues to get one task done. It's just how Greece is. They are backwards with modern society. They're still living in a very old school way because things are slow paced, because there's siesta, the afternoon rest hours, and people are all about the siga lifestyle, which is a concept I also really do love and appreciate. The modern world has become so demanding, but Greeks are half-half. There's a half that is like super strong working class, and there's the other half that is like, we're not meant to do this, we're meant to just chill, not to consume so much, we don't need so much money, we don't need to go to fancy expensive places, we go to the thalassa to eat a little bit of karpouzi. That's all we want. We just want to eat souvlaki on the beach, eat that karpouzi on the beach, siga. A lot of people shut their shops if they have an independent shop, whatever time they want, even if their working hours on Google says 9 to 5. It's never 9 to 5. What am I talking about? It's always 9 to 2 or 9 to 3, and then there's a siesta, and then it will open again in the evening. But you might get there and it says on Google or outside their shop it's meant to be opened. It won't be opened if the owner doesn't want to be opened. He will go home and take a fat snooze or have dinner with his family, or if it's his family celebrating Yenethlia or name day, they're going to go to the taverna down the road and he's going to close his shop, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you have a personal relationship with him, you might call someone and say, hey, open up the shop and let me go open for my friend, if you've got connections. But yeah, there are pros and cons to Greece's system. Sometimes countries that have too many rules, like Singapore and Japan, creates another level of depression. Greece maybe needs a little bit of more rules and more structure, but at the same time people are more free-willed and some level, and they kind of like just having a bit of control over their own life. They don't like people telling them what to do, okay? It's part of being Mediterranean. Although we have high tax and high electricity, I would say to enjoy and live life is fairly comfortable. Look, if you're gonna go with a small Greek salary wanting to eat out at expensive touristic restaurants and expensive touristic cafes and expensive touristic shops, you're not going to save jack squat. So if you want to live like a tourist in Greece, you're going to pay and you're going to have no money. But you can enjoy life frugally if you're not earning much, but you can still enjoy your life through consumeristic avenues that support Greeks, not tourists. Then I had some comments, people asking me, is city, suburb or village life better? And if you go with a village life or a suburb life, is it better in the mountains or by the seaside? This is all personal preference. Me, I do not like the cold, okay? I personally don't like the cold, but I love the mountain scenic routes. I love the forests. I love visiting the snow. I just personally don't want to live only there. I could live in a mountainous area that is cold in winter with snow if it was also by the seaside. If you like city life, you'll like Thessaloniki and Athens. If the rush of cars and concrete buildings and people and traffic and consumerism is what you like, it's totally up to you. There's some people that love city life but hate village life. They can't stand being in quiet little places. It all depends on what you like as a person. But if you like the slow-paced, quiet life, I would say a quiet suburban area or quiet little village life. If you like the cold and the forest, go up north. If you've been living in the city and you have had a lack of nature and peaceful life and, feeling disconnected to yourself and you're super depressed, maybe that's your sign to live somewhere near the seaside or up in the mountains in a quiet little place. Comparing lifestyle to UK and USA. Again, I feel like I've brought up this topic because I'm talking a lot about America. Just to roughly answer that, the UK is cold and depressing, you don't have sun, and it's expensive, and there's no culture, and it's expensive. So if you want to move to Greece and have sunshine and a more affordable life and some culture, move to Greece. The USA is artificial, life's expensive, no culture, people are depressed, people are literally losing it. Like when we watch you people in America, we're like, they're not right in their head. Shame. Lot of social issues in America. Every country has social issues, but America's off the rails. Okay, so another point I wanted to address is the scammers in the city and also Greek people not being ethical if you're a foreigner. So the scammers in the city literally could be your average Greek Joe, or it could be the immigrants in the touristic places that beg for money or steal, or come up to you and put little bracelets on if you're at Monastyraki, and they're like, oh no, it's a gift, and then they hound you and they harass you, telling you that they gave you a gift and why you're not giving them any money back, which is stupid. Athens, and especially in the touristic areas, there's a lot of scammers when you're in Monastyraki, Plaka area, so just please look out. I gave 20 euros to a man sitting... When I visited Greece in 2014 as a 19-year-old, and I hadn't been in Greece since a child, I walked past a man that had no hands or legs. When I tell you no hands, no legs, tell me why I gave this brat 20 euros to just walk away and see another man go in his bowl and take that 20 euros. That was in Plaka. I remember my aunt shouted at me and she says, how would you have expected him to grab his own money? And that's definitely not his wife and kids taking that money. It's a business, okay? I'm not saying they chop the guy's hands and legs off purposely, but they are using his decapitated limbs as a reason to earn money, and someone else is most probably profiting off of it. It's the same thing with them using kids on the side of the road. The Greeks are not ethical. Listen, ako tikan. Listen here. I'm Greek, but I was born in South Africa. I have an accent even though I'm living in Greece. I still have an accent when I speak Greek. I have my South African accent that sounds weird to them, right? So they're like, in Xeni. She's a Xeni. As soon as they know that you're a Xeni or Xenos, which is foreigner, an outsider, literally alien in their eyes, they're like, how can we take advantage of this person to pay more? So you'll walk into a shop. There won't be prices. And you'll ask that price. The Greek price of the normal price to a Greek person could be 10 euros, right? But no, because you're Xeni, because you're a foreigner, they'll say 15 or 20. I don't know, it's up to them. They'll even do it at the periptero. And you'll notice a lot of kiosks that are in tourist areas, they often don't include the prices on a lot of their snacks. Some do, some don't. So when they charge you, they'll charge you more than what they charge an average person. Yeah, just look out for that. When you're walking into a shop as a foreigner or a Greek expat with an accent, they most likely are telling you the wrong prices, unless it's like your normal shops, like, you know, brand names. Yeah, if it's any local business, they're gonna try to pull your leg and get more out of your wallet. I did say be careful of landlords in my previous video, just because they will try and make you pay for things that are not your fault. There's a big problem. When you decide to move into a home, you should take all photos, literally, I'm talking about every inch, and videos. If your handle on your door is loose and giving you issues, take a video and record that jiggle. You've got the date there, the evidence. If your toilet's not working, if you've got a leaking sink, if the extractor is dirty, gross, and not working, if there's cracks in the walls and cracks in the tiles, take photos, take videos, and keep it on record. Because when you move in, and say you stay a couple months, a year or two, and it comes time to moving out, if you do not have your own records, they don't keep record. Epitides, which means on purpose. Because they will say to you, hey, I'm holding your deposit because this and this and this has been damaged. And you'll be like, no, it was like this when I got you. And they'll be like, no, it wasn't. And if you don't have proof, you're screwed. Do you know how many times this has happened to me? Too many. Downfall of Greece is that Greeks make things very complicated. Wow, am I being negative or positive? I feel like I'm just complaining, but I really do love living in Greece. I will give positive points. I am just answering the questions that have been asked, so I will give positive points, please. Socially, Greeks are complicated, it's like vibe with your tribe. So to enter a social group is very difficult. I find that, especially as a female, but I also know males are the same way. Families are very complicated. Neighbors are very kotsobolya. Lots of gossip. Your grannies in your next door neighbors' balconies that stare at you, that's the surveillance camera. Those are the ladies that know all the tea and all the drama. And those are the people that are going to talk shit about you, because if you've done something wrong, the whole neighborhood's going to know about it. Greeks are very loving and hospitable and caring, but they also have jealousy and cynical sides. I guess all humans are that way, but maybe Greeks hide it better. Someone could bet you, and then behind your back she'll be like, which is in translation, wow, darling, you have such beautiful hair. And then behind your back she'll be like, her hair looks like a witch. I'm talking for experience, okay? This is what happens. As you can see, I'm more confident to talk about this in this video because I have experience. So I want to point out why tourism is so important in Greece. A lot of the tourism really funds and is the backbone of Greece's economy, and if we did not have that, it would be terrible. COVID was a very big knock for Greece because people were not traveling, and a lot of businesses, a lot of shops, a lot of families depend on tourism. So the touristic zones, which gather the vast majority of the country's wealth, gets dispersed throughout the rest of Greece and creates a stable, even though it's not stable, but it's our backbone. It kind of keeps things going, you know? COVID was a very difficult time worldwide, of course, but Greece, where we depend so much on tourism, it was terrible. When I tell you terrible, it caused a lot of businesses to shut down. We are trying to also recover from post-COVID times. I had a couple of people asking me why I don't live in South Africa anymore. I did mention it earlier that South Africa has become very dangerous, and I will always love South Africa. It's my country that I was born in, and I grew up there. Every time I go back home, it's home, but I've just outgrown it. I want different things for my life. I want to be able to swim in the sea and float without worrying about a shark coming and eating me or getting hypothermia and freezing. Yeah, only people in Cape Town would understand that. We've got beautiful scenic beaches and ocean scenery. We really do, and stunning nature. But I love summertime in Greece. I love the swimming on the seaside because we have sea and we don't have ocean, and the Mediterranean climate and the waters are completely different to the Atlantic Sea, like in South Africa. I'm just also entering my 30s and wanting to stabilize myself somewhere. I'm thinking on the roads ahead of what type of home life would I want. I don't want to live in a home where I have burglar bars everywhere around me and I'm scared to sleep in my own house. I haven't lived in South Africa for so many years and I still get night terrors. I'm still scared of the night. I still get anxious to sleep. And of course, being outside of South Africa sleeping, I'm a little bit more relaxed, but you'll always see me locking the door. I just really get anxious at nighttime. It really helps when I'm home, having my dog. A lot of people in South Africa depend on their canines to be their guardians, in the sense that they are faster than an alarm. They will hear an intruder, they will protect you, they will really alert you when something is going on. But I just don't want to live in fear anymore. I really don't. And I hope South Africa turns around one day, and I would love to buy property if I'm financially able to in the future and things are safer, just to visit and have my kids spend some time in the country that I'm from. But I want a more peaceful life. Places like Athens have gone downhill with crime. Athens has gotten so much crime that, it's also not the most safest place to live. A lot of the major cities in Europe have pickpockets, scammers, rape, some violence. So I'm not saying that crime doesn't exist in Greece, it does, but statistics wise, into what extremities of those crimes plays a huge role. I don't want to live in a country where rape and murder, especially targeted towards women, is of norm. people in South Africa are very desensitized in the sense that it's become their norm. So when I hear something, I'll be like, oh my God, that's terrible. They'll be like, yeah, it's just another thing on the news. They don't even bother looking at the news because it's always despair. Yeah, I just want to live a peaceful life. I want my kids to grow up in a country that I'm not scared to walk them late at night by the seaside, sitting at the beach with them. I want them to be able to walk to school where I don't have to worry about my kid getting stolen and raped and killed or human trafficked. I don't want that for my kids' future. I'm blessed enough to have Greek citizenship and have my passport, which allows me to reside in a better place, a part of the world, because there are a lot of countries. Look at what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. Geographically, if you're stuck somewhere and you can't get to another country easier, you have to just deal with what you've been given. So if I have the choice to go somewhere better, that's the choice I made for myself. I want to say itchy nose. In conclusion, I really love Greece. There's a lot of good things. I will say the food, the hospitality, the climate, the nature, the seaside, the beaches, the beach bars, the relaxed siga concept of life. There's a lot to it. Thank you so much for supporting my little channel. She's growing. Hope I answered everyone's questions. If you've got more, just write it down and I'll either write my response or maybe I'll make a part 3 if that was entertaining enough. If you want a future video showing everyday life in Greece, like going to the Manavika, going to the grocery store, putting in fuel, someone does it for you. But for example, the local little tavernas, going and paying bills, going on a little walk, which I have videos of doing. If you just want me to show outdoor life in Rhodos of everyday life in Greece, please let me know. I do like just sitting and people watching and having my camera. So there's so many cute things that I see that I don't know if anyone would be interested in watching, but like seeing the little papu that's sitting on a little bench and drinking a little coffee and looking out at the seaside, or sitting at a park together, seeing different people walk little dogs, mamas with their kids walking around little shops in little towns, families gathering together, people doing little outdoor barbecues at their homes, and the cute little homes of Greece and how people live so cute. So if you want to see that, let me know and I'll make a little video about it. I'm done talking. Goodbye.